The children of Dan took the gods that Micah had made, and the priest whom he had, and came to Laish, to a people quiet and secure, and smote them with the edge of the sword, and they burnt the city with fire. And there was no deliverer, because it was far from Thidon, and they had no dealings with any man, and it was in the valley that lieth by Beit-rehob. And they built the city, and dwelt therein, and they called the name of the city Dan, after the name of Dan their father, who was born to Yisrael. Howbeit the name of the city was Laish at the first. And the children of Dan set up for themselves the graven image. And Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Moshe, he and his sons were priests to the tribe of the Dani until the day of the captivity of the land. So they set up Micah's graven image, which he made, all the days that the house of the God was in Shiloh. Shofetim, Judges, chapter 19. And it was in those days, when there was no king in Yisrael, that there was a certain Levi sojourning on the farther side of the hill country of Ephraim, who took to him a concubine out of Beit-lehem Yehudah. And his concubine played the harlot against him, and went away from him to her father's house, to Beit-lehem Yehudah, and was there the space of 4 months. And her husband arose, and went after her, to word upon her heart, to bring her again, having his servant with him, and a couple of donkeys. And she brought him into her father's house. And when the father of the damsel saw him, he rejoiced to meet him. And his father-in-law, the damsel's father, retained him, and he abode with him 3 days. So they did eat and drink, and lodged there. And it was on the 4th day that they arose early in the morning, and he rose up to depart. And the damsel's father said to his son-in-law, Strengthen thy heart with a morsel of bread, and afterward ye shall go your way. So they sat down, and did eat and drink, both of them together. And the damsel's father said to the man, Be pleased, I pray thee, to tarry all night, and let thy heart be merry. And the man rose up to depart, but his father-in-law urged him, and he lodged there again. And he arose early in the morning on the 5th day to depart. And the damsel's father said, Strengthen thy heart, I pray thee, and tarry ye until the day declineth. And they did eat, both of them. And when the man rose up to depart, he and his concubine and his servant, his father-in-law, the damsel's father, said to him, Behold, now the day dawneth toward evening. I pray you tarry all night. Behold, the day groweth to an end. Lodge here, that thy heart may be merry, and tomorrow get you early on your way, that thou mayest go to thy tents. But the man would not tarry that night, but he rose up and departed, and came opposite Yebus, the same is Jerusalem. And there were with him a couple of donkeys saddled. His concubine also was with him. When they were by Yebus, the day was far spent, and the servant said to his master, Come, I pray thee, and let us turn aside into this city of the Yebusi, and lodge in it. And his master said to him, We will not turn aside into the city of a foreigner, that is not of the children of Yisrael, but we will pass over to Gabaa. And he said to his servant, Come, and let us draw to one of these places, and we will lodge in the Gabaa, or in the Ramah. So they passed on and went their way, and the sun went down upon them near the Gaba'ah, which belongeth to Benjamin. And they turned aside thither to go in to lodge in the Gaba'ah. And he went in, and sat down in the street of the city, for there was no man that took them into his house to lodge. And behold, there came an old man from his work out of the field at even. Now the man was of the hill country of Ephraim, and he sojourned in the Gaba'ah. But the men of the place were Bnei Yamini. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the way-journeying man in the street of the city. And the old man said, Whither goest thou? And whence comest thou? And he said to him, We are passing from Bethlehem Yehudah to the farther side of the hill country of Ephraim. From thence am I. And I went to Bethlehem Yehudah, and I am going to my house. And there is no man that taketh me into his house. Yet there is both straw and provender for our donkeys, and there is bread and wine also for me, and for thy handmaid, and for the young man that is with thy servants. There is no lack of anything. And the old man said, Peace be to thee, howsoever. Let all thy lacks lie upon me, only lodge not in the street. So he brought him into his house, and gave the donkeys fodder, and they washed their feet, and did eat and drink. As they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, men of sons of worthlessness, beset the house round about, beating at the door. And they spoke to the master of the house, the old man, saying, Bring forth the man that came into thy house, that we may experience him. And the man, the master of the house, went out to them and said to them, Nay, my brothers, I pray you, do not so wickedly, seeing that this man is come into my house. Do not this folly. Behold, here is my daughter a virgin, and his concubine. Them I will bring out now, and humble ye them, and do with them what seemeth good to you. But to this man do not any such folly. But the men would not hearken to him. So the man lay hold on his concubine, and brought her forth to them, and they experienced her, and abused her all the night until the morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. Then came the woman in the dawning of the day, and fell down at the door of the man's house, where her lord was, till it was light. And her lord rose up in the morning, and opened the doors of the house, and went out to go his way. And behold, the woman his concubine was fallen down at the door of the house, with her hands upon the threshold. And he said to her, Up, and let us be going. But none answered. Then he took her up upon the donkey. And the man arose, and got him to his place. And when he was come into his house, he took a knife, and laid hold on his concubine, and divided her, limb by limb, into 12 pieces, and sent her throughout all the borders of Israel. And it was so, that all that saw it said, There was not such deed done nor seen from the day that the children of Israel came up out of the land of Mithraim to this day. Consider it, take counsel, and speak. Then all the children of Yisrael went out, and the congregation was assembled as one man, from Dan even to Beersheba, with the land of Galaad, to Yahweh at Mathepah. And the chiefs of all the people, even of all the tribes of Yisrael, presented themselves in the assembly of the people of the God, 400,000 footmen that drew sword. Now the children of Benjamin heard that the children of Yisrael were gone up to Mathepah, and the children of Yisrael said, Tell us how this wickedness hath become. And the Lewi, the husband of the woman that was murdered, answered and said, I came into the Gabaa, which belongeth to Benjamin, I and my concubine to lodge. And the lords of the Gabaa rose against me, and beset the house round about me by night. Me they thought to have slain, and my concubine they forced, and she died. And I took my concubine and cut her in pieces, and sent her throughout all the country of the inheritance of Yisrael, for they have committed lewdness and folly in Yisrael. Behold, ye children of Yisrael, all of you, give here your advice and counsel. And all the people arose as one man, saying, We will not any of us go to his tent, neither will we any of us turn to his house. But now this is the thing which we will do to the Gabaa. We will go up against it by lot, and we will take 10 men for the 100, for all the tribes of Yisrael, and 100 for the 1,000, and 1,000 for the myriad, to fetch victuals for the people, that they do when they come to the Gaba of Benjamin, according to all the folly that they have wrought in Yisrael. So all the men of Yisrael were gathered against the city, knit together as one man.